What if I told you that by changing the way you talk to yourself for just 2 days, you could literally reprogram your brain for success, happiness, and abundance? In the next few minutes, I'm going to share something that has changed the lives of millions of people around the world, and it can change yours too, but only if you use it exactly as I show you. For over 40 years, I've studied the thinking patterns of the most successful people in the world. There's one thing they all have in common. They've discovered the incredible power of self-talk. Your mind is like a garden. Every thought you allow to grow decides whether you'll harvest flowers or weeds in your life. Did you know your brain processes over 70,000 thoughts every day, and 80% of them are the same thoughts you had yesterday? Here's the problem. If those thoughts haven't gotten you where you want to be, thinking the same way will keep you stuck in the same place. But when you change your self-talk using the method I'm about to share, something amazing happens. Your brain starts forming new neural connections. Those connections lead to new behaviors, and those behaviors create completely different results in your life. I'm Brian Tracy, and for more than 40 years, I've studied what makes some people achieve extraordinary success and happiness, while others stay trapped in limiting patterns. One of the most powerful differences I've found is this. Highly successful people develop self-talk that pushes them forward, while most people have self-talk that holds them back. Let me tell you something that changed my life forever. Many years ago, when I was a young, struggling salesperson, my manager said something that I thought was ridiculous at the time. He told me, "Brian, the problem isn't your sales technique. It's not your product. It's not the market. The problem is how you talk to yourself before you knock on each door." I thought he was crazy. How could it be that simple? But I decided to try it for 1 week. I completely changed my self-talk. Instead of saying, "I hope this person doesn't reject me," I started saying, "I am a successful professional helping people improve their lives, and this person needs exactly what I offer." Do you know what happened? In just 1 week, my sales tripled. I didn't change my technique. I didn't change my product. I didn't change my territory. I only changed the way I talk to myself. And that was just the beginning of a transformation that took me from being an average worker to building a personal and professional empire. Now, I want you to understand something fundamental about how your mind works. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what you vividly imagine. It cannot separate an event that actually happened from one you visualize with enough emotional detail. This is the key. When you change your self-talk, you are literally reprogramming your subconscious to look for opportunities, generate ideas, and create behaviors that match this new programming. Have you ever noticed that when you start thinking about buying a red car, suddenly you see red cars everywhere? It's not that there are more red cars, it's that your brain's reticular activation system, the part that filters information, is now tuned to notice them. The same happens when you change your self-talk. Your brain starts noticing opportunities, ideas, and possibilities that used to go completely unnoticed. Let me give you a real example. I met a woman named Sarah who, at 45, felt completely stuck in her career. For years, she had been telling herself, "It's too late to change. I don't have the skills. Who will hire me at my age?" These thoughts had created a reality where she felt invisible in the job market. We worked together to change her self-talk. Instead of "it's too late," she started saying, "I have decades of valuable experience to offer." Instead of "I don't have the skills," she said, "I am a quick learner who can master any skill I need." And instead of "who will hire me," she said, "I am exactly what the right company is looking for." Do you know what happened? In less than 3 weeks, 3 different people mentioned job opportunities to her. Her posture changed, her energy changed, the way she presented herself changed. It wasn't magic, it was the power of conscious self-talk transforming her external reality. Now, I want to teach you the exact formula you must use. It's not enough to repeat generic positive affirmations. They must be specific, personal, and trigger powerful emotions. The formula has 3 parts: identity, ability, and destiny. First, identity. Instead of focusing on what you are not or what you lack, start each day declaring who you are at your highest level. Not superficially, but something that resonates deeply with you. For example, instead of saying, "I hope to have more money," say, I am a person who creates economic value wherever I go. Do you feel the difference? One is passive hope, the other is active identity. Second, ability. Here you recognize and declare your skills, both the ones you already have and the ones you are developing. I have the ability to learn any skill I need to reach my goals. I have the intelligence and persistence to solve any problem. My life experience gives me unique wisdom I can apply to any situation. Most people obsess over what they lack instead of recognizing the abundance they already possess. Changing this perspective through self-talk is revolutionary. Third, destiny. Here you connect your present with your desired future. I am on the path to becoming the best version of myself. Each day I get closer to living the life I truly want. My future is brighter than my past because I take the right actions today. But here's the crucial part most people miss. It's not enough to say these things once a day like a mantra. You must integrate them into your continuous self-talk. When you wake up, instead of immediately checking your phone or worrying about the day, spend the first 5 minutes on this powerful self-talk. When you prepare for an important meeting, instead of imagining every possible negative scenario, speak to yourself as the successful person you already are. When you face a challenge, instead of saying, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What can this situation teach me, and how can I use it to grow?" Imagine how your life would change if for just 2 days you completely replaced your limiting self-talk with these empowering conversations. I'm not talking about pretending or denying reality. I'm talking about changing your perspective on reality so that it activates your internal resources instead of paralyzing them. Let me tell you about another client. A man named Michael, 52, had lost his job after 20 years in the same company. He kept telling himself, "Nobody hires someone my age. The job market has changed too much. I should settle for any job I can get." I taught him to change his self-talk, and he started saying, "My 2 decades of experience make me incredibly valuable to the right company. I adapt quickly to change because I've navigated many transformations in my career. I deserve and will find a job that values my unique contributions." Do you know what happened? He not only got a job, he received 2 job offers at the same time, both with higher salaries than before. When I asked what had changed, he said, "Brian, nothing changed externally. I changed how I saw myself, and suddenly the world started seeing me differently too." This brings us to a fundamental principle I've observed over decades. Your external world always reflects your internal world. When you change your self-talk, you change your energy. When you change your energy, you change how you present yourself to the world. When you change how you present yourself, you change how the world responds to you. Now I want you to do something with me. Think of an area in your life where you feel stuck or dissatisfied. Maybe it's your career, maybe your relationships, maybe your health or finances. Got it? Now ask yourself honestly, how have you been talking to yourself about this area of your life? What conversations have you been having inside your head? Mentally, or even better, physically, write down the phrases you say most often about this situation. Most people are shocked when they see how negative and limiting their usual self-talk is. Phrases like, "This always happens to me, I'm not good at this. It's too hard, I'm unlucky. Good things happen to others, not me." Each of these phrases is a direct instruction to your subconscious. You are telling it what to look for, what to expect, how to behave, and your subconscious, being obedient, simply follows orders. But here's the extraordinary news. You can change those orders at any time, and when you do, results start showing up so fast, it feels almost miraculous, though there is nothing miraculous about it. It's simply the power of a mind consciously directed toward specific results. Now, I want to teach you a specific technique I call instant replacement. Every time you catch yourself having a limiting thought about yourself or your situation, immediately, without pause, replace it with its empowering opposite. For example, if you think, "I don't know if I can do this," immediately tell yourself, "I have all the resources I need to succeed, and if I need to learn something new, I can learn it quickly." If you think, "This is too hard," replace it with, "This is a perfect opportunity to grow and show my abilities." If you think, "What if I fail?" replace it with, "What if I achieve extraordinary success?" What would happen if you started doing this today? What if, for the next 2 days, you committed to consciously monitoring and replacing every limiting thought about yourself or your possibilities? Here's exactly what will happen, because I've seen it thousands of times. First, you will notice that you have many more limiting thoughts than you realized. This can feel shocking at first, but it's a blessing in disguise because you can't change what you don't recognize. Second, you will feel some initial resistance. Your mind is used to operating in a certain way, and any change, even positive, feels uncomfortable at first. This is completely normal and temporary. Third, around the second day, you will start noticing small changes in how you feel, how you move, how you interact with others. Your energy will be different, your posture will change, your way of speaking will change. And fourth, within the first week, you will begin to notice changes in how others respond to you and in the opportunities that start appearing in your life. This is not coincidence. It's cause and effect. Let me share a personal story that perfectly illustrates this principle. Several years ago, I was going through a particularly challenging period in my business. Revenue had dropped, some important projects hadn't gone as planned, and I found myself slipping into a pattern of negative self-talk. I was saying things like, maybe my best days are behind me. The market has changed too much. Young entrepreneurs have advantages I don't have. And naturally, the more I told myself these things, the more evidence I found to support them. It was a perfect vicious cycle. One day I realized what I was doing. I recognized that I had allowed external circumstances to dictate my self-talk, and that was creating more of the same unwanted circumstances. I decided to run an experiment on myself. For 30 days, I would consciously monitor and change every limiting thought about my situation. Instead of saying, maybe my best days are behind me, I told myself, my best years are ahead because I have more wisdom and experience than ever. Instead of, the market has changed too much, I said, I am an expert adapter who thrives in any market. Instead of, young people have advantages I don't, I said, my experience gives me unique perspectives that are incredibly valuable. The results were extraordinary. In those 30 days, my business not only fully recovered, it reached levels I hadn't seen in years. New opportunities appeared, new ideas emerged, new connections formed. Had the market changed? Had I suddenly developed new skills? No. What had changed was my self-talk, and that changed everything else. Here's something crucial I want you to understand. Your self-talk doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects how you act. And how you act determines your results. It's a direct chain of cause and effect. Thoughts, emotions, actions, results. When you consciously change the first link in the chain, you automatically change all the other links. That's why this process works so quickly and so powerfully. Now, I want to give you some specific examples of powerful self-talk you can start using immediately, adapted to different areas of your life. For your career, I am a person who adds extraordinary value wherever I work. My unique talent is recognized and generously rewarded. Every challenge in my job is an opportunity to show my abilities and advance my career. For your relationships, I am worthy of love and respect. I attract healthy, enriching relationships into my life. I communicate my needs clearly and confidently and support others to do the same. For your health, my body is strong, vital, and heals naturally. I make choices that nourish and energize my body. I feel better every day in every way possible. For your finances, I am a wealth creator. Money flows to me from multiple sources. I make wise financial decisions that build long-term abundance. For your personal growth, I am constantly growing and evolving into the best version of myself. I embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. My potential is unlimited. Did you notice something about these statements? They are all in the present tense, all empowering, and all position you as the active agent in your life rather than a victim of circumstances. This is fundamental. Your self-talk should always position you as powerful, capable, and in control of your destiny. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing a perspective that activates your resources instead of paralyzing you. Now, here's something most personal development experts don't tell you. Consistency is more important than intensity. It's better to change your self-talk subtly and consistently throughout the day than to have one intense affirmation session in the morning and then return to limiting patterns for the rest of the day. Think of it like watering a plant. Occasional flooding is not as effective as steady, consistent watering. Your subconscious responds better to messages repeated consistently than to intense but sporadic messages. This means you need to develop what I call self-talk awareness. During the day, you need to be aware of the conversations you are having with yourself. At first, this will take conscious effort, but after a week, it becomes automatic. A practical technique I recommend is setting subtle alarms on your phone every 2 hours for the first few days. When the alarm goes off, pause for 30 seconds and ask yourself, how have I been talking to myself in the last 2 hours? If you notice limiting patterns, simply replace them with empowering alternatives. Another powerful technique is what I call mirror dialogue. Each morning, look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and have an empowering conversation with yourself. Tell your reflection all the things you most need to hear that day. It may feel strange at first, but it's incredibly powerful because you are combining verbal communication with direct eye contact with yourself. I also want you to consider the power of questions in your self-talk. Instead of making limiting statements like, I can't do this, ask yourself empowering questions like, how can I do this? Or, what resources do I need to achieve this? Questions direct your mind towards solutions instead of problems. When you ask, why does this always happen to me? Your mind looks for reasons to justify why you are a victim. But when you ask, how can I use this situation to grow? Your mind searches for opportunities and possibilities. Pause and write this idea down right now. The questions you ask determine the answers you get. The answers you get determine the actions you take. The actions you take determine the results you achieve. Let me give you a concrete example. Suppose you face a financial challenge. Typical self-talk would be, why do I never have enough money? Why am I so bad with finances? Why can others succeed financially but I cannot? These questions will only generate answers that make you feel worse and less capable. But if you change your questions to, what skills can I develop to increase my income? What expenses can I eliminate to improve my situation? What strategies do financially successful people use that I can apply? Now your mind is looking for practical solutions. See the difference? Same challenge, completely different mental approach, leading to completely different results. Practice this week. Every time you catch yourself asking a limiting question, immediately replace it with an empowering one. This will transform not only how you feel, but the actions you take and the results you achieve. Now I want to talk to you about the 2 days that can change your life, something I've observed in thousands of successful people I've worked with over the years. They all have one thing in common in their self-talk. They speak to themselves as if they are already the person they want to become. They don't say, someday I will be successful. They say, I am a successful person building on my past successes. They don't say, I hope to find love. They say, I am a loving and lovable person who attracts extraordinary relationships. They don't say, I wish I could be in better shape. They say, I am a healthy person who makes choices that support my well-being. This is not self-deception. This is conscious programming of your subconscious identity. Your subconscious does not question what you tell it. It simply accepts as truth what you repeat consistently and then looks for ways to make your external reality match that inner programming. Imagine how your behavior would change if you truly saw yourself as successful, capable, and deserving of the best in life. You would walk differently, speak differently, make different decisions, seek different opportunities. Of course you would. And here's the magic. When you begin to act like the person you want to be, you begin to achieve the results of that person. It's an upward cycle that reinforces itself. I want you to think about how this applies in your current life. Who is the person you want to become? How would that person talk to themselves? What kind of self-talk would that version of you maintain? Do this exercise right now, mentally. Imagine you are already that person. How would you handle your current challenges? What would you say to yourself about the opportunities in front of you? How would you describe your abilities and potential? These are exactly the conversations you need to start having with yourself today. Don't wait for circumstances to change your self-talk. Change your self-talk to change the circumstances. This reminds me of one of the most powerful lessons I learned early in my career. I had the chance to observe an extraordinarily successful CEO during a major crisis in his company. While everyone else was panicking and talking about everything that could go wrong, he maintained completely different self-talk. I heard him murmuring to himself, I have the experience and wisdom to navigate this successfully. My team trusts my leadership because I always find creative solutions. Not only did he navigate the crisis successfully, but the company emerged stronger than before. His positive self-talk led to clearer decisions, more effective communication, and more strategic actions. That day I realized that self-talk is not soft or esoteric. It is the most practical and powerful tool you have to influence your results in the real world. Now, before we finish, I want to give you what I call the 2-day challenge. For the next 2 days, you will commit to completely changing your self-talk. No matter what is happening in your life, you will speak to yourself as the successful, capable, and powerful person you truly are. Day 1. Focus on awareness. Every time you catch yourself having a limiting thought, simply notice it without judgment. Interesting. I'm telling myself I'm not good enough again. Awareness is the first step toward change. Day 2. Focus on active replacement. Every limiting thought is immediately replaced with its empowering opposite. If you catch yourself saying, "This is too hard," immediately change it to, "I have the skills to handle this successfully." What do you think will happen after just 2 days of this exercise? I'll tell you, you will begin to feel differently about yourself and your possibilities. And when you feel differently, you act differently. And when you act differently, you get different results. But more importantly, you will prove to yourself that you have full control over your internal experience, no matter what is happening externally. And that realization is the beginning of extraordinary personal freedom. If this video has resonated with you, if you felt even a spark of possibility about what could change in your life when you take control of your self-talk, then do something powerful right now. Subscribe because every week I share tools, strategies, and principles that help you reach your highest potential, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next videos. Each one is designed to give you practical tools you can apply immediately to transform your personal, professional, and spiritual life. But more important than subscribing to the channel, subscribe to your own growth. Commit to the process of consciously changing how you talk to yourself. Because here's the truth I've learned after decades of helping people transform their lives. The most important conversation you have every day is not with your boss, not with your partner, not with your children, it's with yourself. And the quality of that conversation determines the quality of your life over the next 2 days. Be impeccable in that conversation. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you deeply love and completely believe in, because that person is you. And when you start seeing changes in your energy, your confidence, the opportunities that appear, and how others respond to you, come back and leave me a comment sharing your experience. Nothing gives me more joy than knowing these ideas are transforming real lives. Remember, you are one decision away from completely transforming your life. That decision is to change how you talk to yourself. Decide now, act today. Your future self will thank you forever.